Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
And
how's everybody doing?
This is mainly for Dennis. You got your pointer ready, Dennis? Dennis isn't here. He's not feeling well today. Jerry, I think, is in chat. He's a little under the weather, too.
I got
but,
but
Bill's here, and Steve's here, and I'm here. And
yeah, I got a big, long 3-foot pointer. We're in good shape.
There you go.
Get one of those extendable. I got a fly rod I could paint the tip on.
Well, there you go. I could open the garage door, stand out with one of those and point at things.
Yeah. Oh. So anyway, Steve, why don't you go through the roster?
Oh, we got quite a crew in here this morning. Holy moly. We got Fred Wild. Good morning. Almar, Dwight Curley. Oh, there's Dennis in chat. I hope you feel better, Dennis.
Yeah,
John
Dennis.
Sanvillo, Rob T-Man. John, Skilka River Valley. Hello. We got Jerry in chat. He's not feeling good either. Hope you feel better,
Well,
Jerry. We got Allison in here. We got Sparky in here. Good morning, Sparky. Steve Anderson, you're on your way to something. I forgot. My buddy Bernard.
Narrow Gauge Convention.
Narrow Gauge, yeah.
And I'm jealous.
Let's see. I think I know there's more. Fill me in on who else I missed. I think
Lee's here. Lee with Anfield Road.
Oh, didn't see Lee.
Good morning, Lee. Yeah, he think he just popped in.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Good morning, Lee. We got Roy. Good morning, Roy.
Hey, Roy.
How are you?
Well, good to see everybody today. As usual, we have nothing planned.
Nothing to talk about.
I am working on one that I haven't had time to get back to him, but he has agreed to be on the show at some point. It's a gentleman that has a layout here. Actually, he's not in Tulsa. He's close to Tulsa, but he's not in Tulsa.
That is a cool layout.
But he's been, it's a shelf railroad, fairly modern equipment, but he's been modeling, I think he told me, since high school, and he's probably our age. But anyway, I'm going to try and get him on the show here before too long, and also make a trip out to his layout and maybe take some video there, and we can show that too. So,
we got Mark Pruitt in.
Dennis wants to know where your layout is, Bill.
Where my layout is?
Yeah.
It's kind of off over that direction there, Dennis. It's behind me over on this side.
Over the other way.
Element of surprise. Anybody that's seen my last video, I'm a little farther along than what that last video shows. So
yeah. Well, does anybody else notice anything else missing from the videos, from our videos? I don't think anybody's noticed yet.
Yeah.
We're not a very observant bunch as a group.
No. Not very,
unless you got a pointer and you're pointing to it.
They're not very inquisitive, are they?
No, they're not.
Yeah, Fred says my train's missing.
There you go. Well, tell them why, Steve.
I sold it.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
No,
man, that was mean there.
Yeah. No, after the show, I'm taking it over to Medford and I'm gonna go play today. So it's in the back of my truck.
Yeah, it's fun now. It's working good.
Yeah. That's where the fun part.
It'd be nice sometime. Not necessarily today, but show when you've got everything packed up, how you pack it up into your truck. That'd be kind of cool to see.
I could show you right now.
I think that'd be pretty interesting just to see how you transport it.
Okay. Well, we can do that. If I can figure out how to do this. Settings. There we go.
Well, and they're not gonna even ask about the other thing. So
no, they don't care.
No.
That's okay.
Oh, so anyway. Yeah, Allie sent you what? He didn't really sell it, Allie.
I didn't.
No, I don't think he would. Not after putting that much work into it.
Oh, no. There we go. Now, if I could just keep Gus from running out the door.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
There it is. So I've got a just a simple rack that I made with 2x4s and angle iron, and it's kind of dark, so I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, we see it.
I got turnbuckles on the. I'll try to hold still because I know it. When I move the camera around, it doesn't like to show stuff. But I got turnbuckles on the wheels that help. And it's rock solid in there. And then I have to take the top of the caboose off because the fuel car and caboose just barely fit on this rack because I made them just as big as these roller tables, so they go end to end, so it sticks out a little bit, and I've got to take the top of the roof and the cupola off so it can get far enough back in the back of my truck to get it to clear up here. But it's I'll try to hold still.
Yeah, Wilmer says it looks so much smaller in the truck. He doesn't know the half of it. Wilmer, you got to see this thing in person. It looks like a G scale. It really does, especially when it's up next to one of the bigger ones at Train Mountain.
It's even smaller when you're sitting on the damn thing.
Yeah. But of course, that American wasn't a very big engine either.
Nope.
Pretty tiny.
I've got turnbuckles on the other side, to hold the engine on. And somebody was telling me, well, you need to put stops on the back of the boards like I have on the fuel car for the locomotive. Well, for two reasons is I don't want to damage the pilot, but it's never going to, if it comes loose, it's going to have to go through 4 turnbuckles before that thing's coming out.
Yeah.
So that's it. Anyway, let me flip this thing around. Back camera, front camera. Okay. Close this guy.
So don't watch him, Dennis. You're already sick.
Okay. Let's see. So that's my update.
Ah, that's nice. That looks really cool.
And I can get it loaded in there in about 30 minutes. Doesn't take very long.
Do you do any additional cover over it? Like, so if you're driving and it rains, you're not getting that back splatter coming in, or?
I generally don't want to run it when it rains. I suppose it could happen if I'm up at Train Mountain or something, you get a thunderstorm and you can't control that. I'd probably try to wrap it in plastic before I take off. But I've got a small bed that I put over the cupola, and then I put the back of the truck down, and I've got bungee straps that hold the back. But right now Gus is in the bed, so I don't have it on. Yeah, it loads and unloads pretty easy. The hardest part's putting the turnbuckles on.
Well, Mark Pruitt said, I bet that makes people following you down the road nervous.
No, I get a lot of questions, especially when I stop for fuel.
Yeah. I used to get the same thing when I had my airplanes in an open bed truck going down the road, because I'd be looking at it and the props kind of slowly windmilling in the wind. Mm-hmm. And they can see it over the tailgate, if I didn't have it down. Sometimes I had the tailgate down, depending on which plane I had. But yeah, when I did that before I got my trailer, I'd get a lot of people looking and honking as they go by and stuff like that.
I've been waiting for the time when I get blue lights behind me to pull over, because I know that's going to happen. I'm going to get some rail fan cop that's going to go, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, he'll pull you over just because he can.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah, most likely will happen at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure eventually that's going to happen.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
Bill, what have you been up to? Missed you
Oh,
last week.
yeah. I've been up to a few things here. So let me get.
Well, I'm anxious to see because I missed your last update. So
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to let's see, because Roy wants to know that, or says I need a bigger truck. That's true. I can't afford it. And let's see. Dennis wants to know how far it is to Medford. It's 45 minutes. That's pretty cool. Oh, Allison gets the Brownie Award. She's the first one that noticed.
it took a while too. We're about 10, 15 minutes in.
yeah, we're a slow group. I'm telling you, we're not very observant as a group.
Bernard wants to know if I have film unloading and loading. You know, I could do that today. That's a good idea.
Well, Steve, answer Allie's question.
No, they have to guess.
Oh, they have to guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
We'll have to give something away.
I'm not going to tell them. They got to guess.
We'll have to give something away. Let's see. I'm thinking I probably got something out there in the shop I can give away as a prize to whoever guesses.
Probably got a pointer.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Oh, that looks nice.
All right. Yeah.
Here, let me enlarge this.
Yeah.
There we
That
go.
is awesome.
Okay.
So here's what I've been doing the past couple of weeks. So the last video I had out, I was just starting to put the, well, let me get my dentist pointer, just starting to put the pink foam board in this area. So I've got a couple of, like 3 other videos in the can that'll populate over the next couple of weeks, just showing adding the pink foam board. But I've got the pink foam board on everything now for this side, except right in here. I have to get more material to put my fascia, then I can finish this off. So what I've been doing is I have used up the last of the Sculptamold that I had. So I've got probably about 2/3 of this module covered in Sculptamold. Got it behind the trestle, underneath the trestle. You can see how the rock work follows the pink foam board the way I put it in. So this should stain up really nice when I get done. Over here, you can see that little different color. That's the first area that I started to put the plaster skim coat on and then do more of the fine, carving into it to give it the rock layer look. I'll go from here and I'll go up, and then I will start to go down this way and just try to carry through on one complete area and then kind of move over and then do another area and then over and so on. So probably by the end of this long weekend, if I get a few evenings out here doing other things, I might be able to start staining in and around this area here. So I can just show you a little bit more on the pink foam board. When I get over here, I'll take some wax paper, put it in between the seam of the 2 sections so that I can build up my scenery and make it a nice tight seam on both sides. Over this way, started to get things in place for where I will have the active logging camp right in this area, trees going in through here. Just starting to get Sculptamold in. I got to put more Sculptamold in this area here, and then, of course, the fascia. What I'm going to do with the fascia is I'm going to do sort of a combination of something that Jerry suggested. I'm going to close this up, but I am going to put another porthole in here, even though I don't really need it to reach because I've never had a derailment and I can get underneath. But just so people can kind of look at it, I went back in and I added a couple of other portholes, one on that side and then one on the other side of the layout. Again, I can get in if I need to clean the track, but also so people can look in and they can see the construction of how it was put together. They can see the pink foam board, the supports, the track, the wiring. So, and then over here, I've still got to do, again, fascia coming up. More carving of the pink foam board in here before I do a continuation of this little cliff face off over this direction. Use the wax paper again to separate it, but I'm making progress. I got a lot done. I've used all of the Sculpt-A-Mold that I've got, and I had to order another 25-pound box, and I'll get that maybe late next week. Then I can continue doing Sculpt-A-Mold. But it won't be long before I have a contest to have people guess how many trees I'm going to put in on this section.
Well, Dennis says that's almost exactly how he envisioned several parts of his layout with the plunging fascia.
Yeah. You know, it should be good. You know, and Dennis is going to have a fantastic looking layout as well once, you know, he gets into the scenery phase on his. He's got plenty of areas for some really spectacular scenery.
Jeff, the railroad enthusiast, wants to know what gauge is at the top.
So that's ON30 at the top. So the equipment that I run is basically Bachmann ON30, and I've got, you know, some more stashed away. And then Micro Engineering Code 70 ON30 track and switches.
Wow.
Looking good, Bill.
Yeah.
That does look good. Well,
that when you get that to a show, that's going to be a showstopper. You're going to have a lot of people around that thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting encouragement from the wife to get it to a show here fairly soon. We've got some coming up in Richmond in November, and then in January, Greenberg's show. So one of these first days, you know, I'll be able to start getting it out and about.
Well, make sure you take some video at the show.
Yeah, definitely take video of it.
Yeah, give us some idea what the interest is. I know you're going to be crowded around it for sure.
I'm hoping it'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, Steve, I don't know if you've been watching chat, but
I have. Yeah,
had a couple of guesses, and I think somebody got it.
We got a winner, and I'm sorry, Sparky. I wish you were right. I did not go back to work for the railroad. Yeah, Pennsylvania Northwest Railway. Well, first of all, welcome to the show. And yes, I'm going to be a school bus driver. Woohoo! Isn't that exciting?
Well, Bernard thought it was your new camo, so you blend in at Medford.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope, got nothing to do with that. No, I finished up all my classroom paperwork. I'm going to be driving for First Student, which is, I didn't realize it is the largest bus company in North America. They have 48,000 employees. They actually cover Canada, Alaska, all over the United States. So, yeah, I'm going to be transporting little rugrats around. But all I got left to do is get my CDL taken care of. And then once I do that, then I can get my learner's permit, do my 17 hours of behind the wheel training and get certified for that. And then they'll cut me loose. I'm just going to do it part-time though. Unless I get killed by little kids or just can't stand them.
Well, we'd ask for video, but we're really not that interested. So,
no, but actually doing a loading and unloading video over in Medford, I could do that. I could set up the tripod.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah,
that'd be
something.
Guys would be. It won't be as good as that one fellow that was up there.
No,
that was just unloading car after car after car.
Yeah, Fred with his clown. Yeah, Fred Lisenby with his clown car and his Pacific and his whole train coming out of that one.
And if you want to see that, go back to the video that we had the live stream from Train Mountain. Not when I was there. It was when Chuck was there the first time, and that's when that video. It was on that video, and he backs this van up there and pulls out 8 or 9, 10 cars, something like that.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Plus his big giant Pacific.
Yeah, big engine and a whole bunch of cars with it, all in this one van.
Yeah,
I don't worry.
He's got room for all his camping gear and his wife too.
And his wife. Was she the last option on the loading?
Yeah, she doesn't last.
Doesn't fit, can't go.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go up. If anybody wants to see, I got done with the cattle area, Well, not done, but pretty close. Got all the fencing up. So I'll go up and show you guys.
Yeah. While you're doing that, Pennsylvania, first of all, what's your first name so that we can call you your proper name? And send us an email with your address and to, I think, what's it, backontrack@gmail.com, I think.
Yeah.
And we'll come up with some sort of a prize for you.
Okay. Turn your eyes away, Dennis, until I get up there.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Brian. Our buddy Brian. Okay, Scott, good. Well, welcome to the show, Scott.
Go up into the dark. Give me a second, get the lights on.
Well, let's see. Roy says he wants a video of me yelling at the kids to shut up, or maybe could influence a whole new generation of model railroaders. Show them trains. I've got my duct tape and shock collar ready.
Now there's your beef jerky, Bill.
All right. I see it's still drying out there on that dock.
Oh, and I didn't make it large either. Sorry about that, guys.
Steve Anderson's got a good idea. He said one of the prizes could be one of my throttle valves that I fried on my engine.
There you go.
I got plenty of those.
Anyway, I got all the fencing done, and I forgot I had this tape up here. I was doing some more plaster work, but I got all the fencing done that I wanted to do for it. This is grout that I used in here. I saw somebody else using it. Looks pretty good. It looks like dirt that you'd see in a cattle pen. The thing I don't like about it is you have to wait for it to dry. I mean, it dries fairly quickly, but it's a mess in the meantime. I filled in some spots in the back where I had lowered the plywood for the train going back through the tunnel there. And I need to make the transition a little better. So I had the sculpted mold out the other day and I started doing that. I also wanted to make the transition between the removable section that I have here to get to the turnouts that go back to the staging tracks. I wanted to hide that joint just a little bit better. So I put this in. Then this is the track coming back for the narrow gauge on the cattle pens. And of course, this will have some scenery and stuff put on it. This is just the first bit of sculpt mold in it. But anyway, that's what I did on that. I got the Dennis, here's that windmill, and I believe it's just like they have out there by you. You can see he was telling me the fin is what makes the difference. He used to work on these, so there's that. You can tell me what model it was. Oh, the other thing I did, I got done. Oh, I made 4 of these. I don't know if I'll use them all here or not, but made the stock tanks for the cattle. Put a little of the magic water in it, and these are caps off of like Tester's model paint, but they're the perfect size. Diameter and height. Yeah. They were perfect for this. So I just painted them up a little bit, and they'll go in there, and I'll run the piping from the windmill over to where I put that in.
Claude,
once I get this kind of at least started on the terrain here, I've already started planning a track for up here in the mining section. So I'm kind of anxious to get to that.
Mark wants to know if your cattle pens are scratch built.
Well, all the wood from them are from kits, Campbell kits, but the layout is scratch. Even the ramps are scratch. I didn't like the way they did the ramps on them, so I did them similar but different. About the only thing I used off of the plans of those kits were the layout for the the order of the boards on the fences. They're tight at the bottom and spaced at the top, and then the gates. All the gates I use the plan. Other than
Dennis says he likes the pen configuration.
Yeah, well, it just kind of fit this deal, and I wanted something that wasn't square. I wanted to give it a little more character. But what I did was, instead of using the plan for the pins on the kits, because I knew I had to make a run into the slaughterhouse, so where they would run the cattle back there and feed them up to the slaughterhouse. I knew I had to do that, so I was going to have to come up with something anyway that was different than the plan. And so what I did was just make as long of sections of fencing as I could get with the wood that came in the kit, which was almost 12 inches long. I just made several of those and then cut them to the length I needed to fit them in here where I wanted them. But I knew I wanted a little bit of difference in here.
Dennis wants to know if you drew it out first.
No. Kind of like most everything else I do on the layout. I just start doing it and put it in. And if I like it, I do it. I kind of have an idea in my head what I want to do, but it's never set in stone. Even the angle that this sits at, I knew I wanted the tracks to come up, but because this front here is so short, I needed some way to get more trains in there. So I scratch built the decking for it. These two here, one for the standard and one for the narrow. And then I thought, well, I can bring both of them in there now. And then I just put the other ones over the sides, going back. I
don't want to piss in your Cheerios, Claude, but you don't have any clearance between the cars and the loading dock.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, there's clearance there.
Not very much. Well, won't clear a man on the side of a car. Well,
if it gets on the side of the car, it's going to end up like that.
That's right.
So how many cow models do you think you're going to use in those pens?
In the pens? Well, I've got a lot. So I even have some milk cows that I'm probably going to repaint because I've got a lot of them and I'm not going to use very many anywhere else. So I'll probably repaint those brown or black and put them in here. But I probably have close to 100 heads of cattle. So yeah, it'll fill it up pretty good, I think.
So how are you going to model the cow pies?
I don't know yet. I may use, and I thought of that, Bill, actually. I may use some brown ground foam or something, just small pieces, and do it like that. I haven't really finalized that yet, but I will have some of that in there because I'm planning on having in one of the pens guys raking it up into the corner or something, so they can haul it out. But yeah,
I use the ground foam like on my end scale, that little lot that I've got. Piece of wax paper and just take I used Elmer's white glue and just little dots, and then just ground foam, and then cut up some of the Woodland Scenics like yellow grass super fine, just to kind of mix in it so it looked like a little straw and hay in the poo.
Yeah.
Well, Brian says you can use a Hershey's Kiss.
Well, that'd be a little bit big, kind of like when I was finding the size for these tanks.
Well, on a serious note, John Tanzilla says Woodland Scenics N-scale cattle packs come with cow patties.
Oh, wow. Well, but yeah, trying to find the right size for that stock tank. Everything was either too tall or way too big around. And, and I was looking at all kinds of bottle caps and stuff like that, other things I had. And then I remembered I had a bunch of these that are paints that were probably 20 years old. Most of them are no good anymore. And I thought I can just take the lids off of those and see if those would work. And so I brought one up and fit it to the cattle, and it looked like it fit really well. So that's what it's going to be. that's
Perfect size. How did you like weather your fencing? Did you stain it, paint it? What's your technique? Because it looks really good.
Okay, let me reach back over here. And I like the Hunter line. Let me get it in the light here where you can see it. This is the creosote black. Depending on the wood, like balsa and basswood stain differently. And some of the wood is denser, so it doesn't stain as dark. But this I really like as weathered wood. And that's all that is. It's dipped in this, set it on a piece of paper towel until it dries. And this is alcohol based, so it dries pretty quick. And that's all it is. If I want it a little bit darker, I may come back in with a paintbrush with a little bit of stain on it and hit certain areas. That's one thing I do for a lot of water stain. Excuse the camera. I'll block it like that so Dennis doesn't get sick. But like on the water tower here, that water stain right there, that's the same stuff. It works really good for that kind of stuff. It also works for, staining up on the shingles and things like that. But any of the gray wood that I've got, that's what that is. I've also got brown, and the brown is what I did the slaughterhouse with. All of that wood was done with that Hunter line dark brown color.
So it's Hunter line is the brand?
Hunter line, yeah, they're out of Canada. You can find some companies, some hobby shops here in states that have it. But yeah, they're made in Canada. It's made in Canada. There's a couple of different brands that are out that are very, very similar. I can't think of the other one offhand that Mike Carville uses. I can't remember the name of it, but it's very similar. It comes in a bottle almost identical to this, but they're alcohol-based stains. And they come in all kinds of colors. They've got greens and reds and all kinds of stuff. But it works real good for the wood if you're going to stain the wood. In most cases, I want to do staining of the wood instead of painting it.
Yeah, Sparky says milk cows went to market as well, either shipped to large ranges or to slaughterhouses due to age, dog food, and McDonald's. And Dennis says there's only one way in corrals, I guess. They get dropped off and turned into quarter pounders.
Yep. Well, that's what this is. This is where they bring them and drop them off. The narrow gauge side, the story is this is the original side of the corral, and that these were added later to bring in the standard gauge. But these are here to bring the cattle in. They don't go out here. They come in here. They go in here and then come out over here on this side.
Okay, there's two questions. Dennis wants to know, was the two-chute design part of the kit or your design? And the plumber, Stephen, with a PH, wants to know, vinegar and nails work well. Oh, it's a statement. Work well also. Mm-hmm. Okay. I thought he was asking.
Yeah, you can make a good stain. Vinegar and nails makes a good rust.
Yeah. My pointer stick was vinegar and nails. That's what I'm going to be using for my narrow gauge trestle. It works really well.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get it that way too. This one I like real well. The creosote color is perfect. Like I say, perfect for weathered wood that's been out in the sun and untreated and been there for a long time. It just gives it a really good look to it, I think. Dennis, the chutes, I'm assuming you're talking about the narrow gauge chutes. I used the design kind of, but it's different. So, it's not a lot different. But now the standard gauge chutes are quite a bit different than the other ones. But I wanted them to look a little bit newer also. And of course, this one I put in at an angle, so I had to do the landing in a little bit different shape than you get on the one that's straight out. So, and then of course the platform in between, that's, I added that. because I didn't put the platform on the front. I didn't want the platform on the front of the chutes like the plans showed. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. It's tedious work, you know, a lot of tweezer work, putting it down on the double side, gluing all the posts on, and then, you know, but I got into kind of into a rhythm there after a while, and it goes a lot faster than once you've done a couple of them and you figure out how you want to do it, and it ends up looking pretty good. But yeah, this is going to be a good scene once it's all finished. But I got a lot of stuff to do. I've got a barbed wire fence coming from Woodland Scenics. I saw theirs. Somebody had like 4 of their kits is what's going to take to go across here. But that'll go right against the backdrop to keep the range cattle over there from coming across the tracks.
Okay, I got a question for Dennis. He says that Gail drives a school bus on a suburban route, and she says, I'm going to be on the news. I want to know why.
Dennis on the news, or you're going to be on the news?
I'm going to be on. Yeah, Gail says I'm going to be on the news, and I want to know why.
Well, probably after you kill the first child that you come across.
Uh-oh. We don't want to do that.
I have no idea.
I don't either. I want to know. I definitely want to know. Let's see. Claude, did you use white glue or carpenter's glue? Bernard wants to know.
For the fencing, I use CA glue.
Let's see. Dennis says masking tape and rope don't go well with parents. Now I'm going to use a shock collar and duct tape.
Back, please. No, I didn't use the white glue on it at all. I used CA, which works just fine if you stain the wood first. If you're going to paint, you glue it first, then paint it. But I used CA on the wood. Now on the ground foam stuff, I use white glue, you know, as a first thing to put down, and then I put the ground foam in, and I spray it with matte medium. But you know, typical stuff. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I've used the wood glue on it. The problem with using wood glue or white glue doing one of those is you got to wait a long time for it to dry enough that you can handle it. If you use CA, you can go a lot faster. But and then if I do happen to get too much CA on it, it will be kind of shiny in that spot. All you got to do is use some Dull Coat. I've got a small can of Dull Coat, and you can just spritz it real quick, and it'll kill the shine. So Dull Coat comes in real handy. The only thing you got to worry about Dull Coat is if you're doing it on plastic, you got to watch it, because it can kind of get into the plastic a little bit, but depending on the plastic. But anyway, so that's what I was up to since my last update. And I haven't been up there in a couple of days because I've been attempting to play golf, which I didn't do very good. So we won't talk about that.
Well, you never do.
I never do. I'm not any good anymore. I don't play enough.
Yeah, that area looks really great. That's going to generate some good revenue for your railroad. A lot of cows,
Yeah.
and a lot of tasty meat out.
Yeah, and that was kind of the plan. And then, of course, my great grandfather had a butcher shop in Osage City, Kansas. I found my daughter found this out with research, and so she built. I had a kid of a butcher shop or a meat shop, and so she built that, and we found some old newspaper advertising, banner advertising that he had put in the local paper. So I'm going to take that and shrink it down and put that up as the banner for the store. So that'll be a place for the meat to go to. One of the places anyway. Nice.
That's a cool way of tying family history into the hobby.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, the little oil derrick, I don't know if you saw a glimpse of it in any of that or not that was just to the right of that. My wife and daughter built that oil derrick. When my wife was in oil and gas company, not a company, they sold casing and tubing kind of stuff. But she did that for 30 something years. And so I got that kit for her for Christmas, and they built that, and it's going to have her name on it somehow. I don't know yet, but yeah, we're doing that all the way around. My son's got a brewery that he's building because he likes all the craft beers and all that stuff. So that's going to be his part of it. And then my dad, the lumber yard, it's got my dad's name on it because he was a carpenter and home builder and stuff like that. So that's kind of got him tied into it. So yeah, there's a little bit of everything because it's all non-prototypical.
Yeah.
There's no other than it's narrow gauge trains and standard gauge trains. Other than that, there's no prototype there that I'm following.
Yep. Enjoying the freelance.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do it that way, because that way I wasn't bound by anything. I can make the timeline whatever I wanted. I could do, I can make the story up however I want to.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is, Roy. It's very small.
Yeah.
But we went up and my daughter wanted to go up and see the cemeteries where my relatives are buried. They're buried there's 3 different cemeteries, and they're kind of right across from each other on the country road there, little intersection. And my relatives are buried in the Swedish cemetery because he was actually born in Sweden. So
And Mark says his wife would divorce him if he bought her a kit to put together.
Well, that's the thing. My wife's not interested in trains. She wasn't interested in my airplanes, but she likes doing the little scenic stuff. And I brought her down stuff to make trees, her and my daughter, and my granddaughter, and they sat there one Sunday afternoon making trees for me. So, and talking, and you know how women are. Oh, Dennis is probably going to get swatted from Gail for that, just so he can tell me about it.
Yes.
But no, she enjoys doing that kind of stuff, and my daughter likes doing some of that stuff. Neither one of them thinks they're as creative as I am, but I don't think I'm all that creative either. So I like doing it. That's kind of the end of the story there. But
my wife would just laugh at me.
Oh yeah, well, and yeah, Brenda was that way with the airplanes. She got me into the hobby, but she had nothing to do with them. Nothing. I think she came to the field twice in the 15 years I was doing that. So she had no interest in that at all.
Yeah. My wife is interested. She enjoys watching what I do and, compliments it. But as far as actually taking an active interest, no. Same thing with my son. He could care less. He's busy with his little game thing.
Yeah. Well, Brenda, she'll come up, and because she knows I'm working on something, and if I tell her I got something finished, next thing I know, she's up there wanting to see it. So, but she likes the little miniature stuff too. So it's, just seeing it, she thinks it's kind of cool. So.
Hey, Allison, what is a chitty? Only chitties I know are a chitty chitty bang bang.
You might, Dennis. you might come out as a kebab.
Wrong end of that pointer stick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and if I remember right, those knitting needles are aluminum. They don't break as easy.
Oh, it's Mom's first name. Okay.
No, it's fun to get the family involved, and by giving them something, that they could kind of say is theirs, it kind of gets them a little more interested in it. Mm-hmm. Now, none of them really come up and help with the layout. My son helped me with some of the bench work and stuff, but he's not done any of the plaster work or anything like that. Of course, he doesn't live in town either, so mm-hmm. that kind of negates some of that. But yeah, they like having a part of it and knowing they've got something in it. especially when it's all family stuff.
Yeah.
Fred, have I seen the rules for remote pilots today? It applies to fixed wing as well as quads. Fred, I haven't seen them recently, but that's one reason I got out of it. And the FAA got into it, I got out. The model airplane community had policed ourselves since 47. And because some of these idiots got out with quads that they didn't have to know how to fly and got them up around commercial aircraft, the FAA said, okay, we're going to dump the whole barrel. You know, for one or two bad apples, the whole thing's going to go out the window, and they'll end up killing the hobby altogether, probably. But it's a shame because it would have been easy enough to police just the guys that were doing it. But
hey, we got a question. Jeff, the railroad enthusiast, says he wants question for everyone. What got you into the hobby of model railroading?
Now, is he talking about us on camera?
Yeah, it's a question for everybody.
Well, I've answered it on here before. I know I was 5 or 6, and Dad took me to the Pomona County Fair, Southern California, when we lived down there. And they had, of course, a big exhibition building and a giant layout. It had to be clubs or 2 or 3 clubs. And if I remember right, they had like 3 different gauges on this thing as it went up the mountain. And it was a model of the Sierra Mountains. Probably had Tehachapi on it someplace on there. I don't remember, but I remember being enthralled with the miniaturization of that and thinking that was really cool. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you get the proverbial train set for Christmas. So,
yeah.
And I got it back into it in high school. And then, I got married and the kids came along and that went away. And I was out of it for a long time because of money reasons mainly, and space. Mm-hmm. And then we moved here and I got out of airplanes, and my adult son said, oh, why don't we build a railroad together? Yeah, well, it got me back into it, but he's not so much into it.
My dad got me into it years ago. I mean, he's always been a train nut. And so I've been around trains ever since I can remember. And he belonged to a model railroad club at the Pleasanton and Alameda County Fairgrounds in Pleasanton, California. And they had a deal where the fairgrounds gave them this huge building. I'd probably guess it was probably 40 feet by maybe 80 feet. It was a big building, had an aisle in the middle. One side was O gauge and the other side was HO. Had 2 separate loops. It was all DC, all hand laid track, all hand built turnouts by my dad. He built every one of them. And that's kind of where I tried doing the N scale hand built turnouts. But yeah, he would build them in place. And so I've been around trains and model railroading ever since I can remember. So that's what got me into it.
Yeah, and for me, it was a grandfather. He used to work on the Illinois Central Railroad. He was a fireman for a while. And I can remember, and it's honest memories, at the age of 2, going down into his basement with him and looking up at a table, and I could see like fake trees, and I could see like a little part of a train going by. Well, he ended up pulling me up on his lap, and he had a S-scale layout where you had 2 trains, a couple of loops, some buildings, some odds and ends, and I was hooked. A little bit later, a few years later, I got my first 027. Been in the hobby since then. I also can thank my grandfather for getting me hooked on olives and Mountain Dew, but the trains were the better ones.
Hopefully not at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time. So every time we'd go visit, hey, Billy, you want some olives? Sure. You want some Mountain Dew? Sure.
Mountain Dew martinis. There you go.
Well, I had an old girlfriend right out of high school that, well, it was later than high school because she turned me on to chocolate chip cookies and beer.
Oh Lord.
That's a good combination.
That like chocolate chip cookies in beer?
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, yeah, they're good.
Never tried that.
Brenda said they would, all the girls in her dorm would always, when they drinking beer, they'd always chew bubble gum. No, thank you.
It's hard to do bubble gum and sunflower seeds at the same time.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a little hard.
Well, I knew a guy used to dip Skull and chew bubble gum at the same time.
Oh, I had a friend that did that. He had a big wad, looked like a softball on his cheek,
and chew gum with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Levi Garrett and bubble gum, and he'd get that all together, packed in there. Like,
yeah.
Oh, and then but then he'd sit on the fireman's side while you're in the siding with the door open in the summertime, and he'd be spitting on the steps. But he'd also spit on the handrails, and I didn't know it once. And we saw a headlight coming to meet a train, and I told him I'll roll this guy by. And the tracks were on the fireman's side, on his side. So I walk out the door, grab the handrails. The next thing I know, I'm on my ass on the gravel, looking up at the train. He was hanging out the window, laughing his ass off. I mean, my hands were slimy, and man, he'd been spit on the handrails. Oh God. He set me up big time.
I got some good chewing tobacco jokes, but they're way too long for here. And probably not appropriate either. But
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Eric. What strings now? That's our buddy from Canada. How are you doing? It's more than gross, Allie. It's amazing how fast you end up on the ground.
Oh yeah. Well, they could have just greased them, but the same thing. Of course, you don't grease the bottom of the rail; you grease the top. Right. So that way, when they first get up there, they're fine. When we get at that last grip and grab the grease. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We used to do that with the keyboard on the cash register. We used to put a little heat-proof grease on you couldn't see it, and then go to hit it, and they hit about 4 buttons on the cash register. We were always messing with somebody.
Always could have put super glue on there.
No, well, but the problem there is then you got in trouble with the boss. But yeah, it was fun. Anyway, what else are we talking about here? Oh, everybody's talking about how they got into it. Roy says he originally got an HO scale truck trailer collector, and then he got a Tyco train set, which was a way to display my truck collection. Kept collecting trucks until I got enough room to build a train layout. Yeah, that's usually a lot of it. You got to have a little space and the proceeds to be able to even start with that. Because even if you don't get into something like narrow gauge, which is ridiculously priced anymore, it still takes some money to get much. Yeah. But the good thing is you can start with a little bit and just keep adding. That's always a nice thing with it.
That's an interesting idea, Jerry. He says I could have a little tiny N-scale layout on the bus. Funny, I have one that would fit on the seat too. That's an interesting idea. I'll have to think about that.
Hell no, you don't want to do that. It'll be picked clean the first day.
I don't know if I can. I'd have to ask.
No, I don't bet
probably
you can.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah, they would probably nix that real quick. Ali says the mouse doesn't move when the sensor's taped up. Yeah, that's another one that you can screw with. We didn't have any computers like that on our sales floor, but just regular cash registers. It's pretty funny. Dennis says his wife is listening. Not much proceeds. Yeah, I understand, Dennis. It's a fine line on how much you spend on your hobby, But
Sparky says he's got his first lap from Santa. Dad put it together and ran it. I got to watch.
Everybody had the 3 rail. Was it 027? Is that what they were? Lionel stuff?
Yeah.
Who else put
American
stuff
Fire.
underneath the rails to make it go over a bump?
Yeah.
Till I found out the train wouldn't stay on there very well that way, but kept
I used
making
to
it bigger
use
and bigger.
I used to use what was it? Tinker Toys, where you
Yeah.
get the stuff and build trestles out of those and Lincoln logs and all those kinds of things.
Oh yeah, anything you stick under the tracks, man. That went under the tracks, and then take a cardboard box and make a tunnel. Yeah, it's back when you had to have even more imagination.
Yeah. You know, Allie, you're probably right. I'd never get the kids off the bus.
You would after they swiped everything.
Yeah.
As they grab it, they run.
Or Saturday.
That would be the problem with that. Oh, what else we gonna? Oh, here we go. Mark says he doesn't really know how he got started. He just always loved trains. And Mark's been building for a while because he's had how many layouts, Mark, have you started? 5, I think 5.
Oh man, that's a
After he
lot.
started. And part of it, he's just moved with him to the next house. But man, moving that much and trying to move, I'd hate to have to try and move part of the layout anywhere. I can just imagine what would have to be fixed after that.
Allie said her first train set was a Lima TGV.
Sparky said he had 3 hobbies in his life. First, collecting angel scale truck trailers. Stopped that, started drag racing at 68 GTO. Then car shows. Then back to collecting trucks. Then added trains. Yeah. Well, that's a progression. I mean, that's, you know, life will tell you what you're going to do pretty much at some point, whether it's a career or what you do in your spare time or who you marry or don't marry or whatever. Okay, Mark's had five big layouts, but then kind of many more smaller ones. Yeah, well, and that's true for a lot of people. But you know, I had the 4x12 HO layout when I was in high school. I didn't have really a layout before that. And then when the kids were little, I tried to get an N-scale one going, and I got the basic layout up, but then that fizzled because of funds, basically. That and we needed the room. So the layout was the sacrifice. And then we moved in this house, and we had an extra room upstairs that we're not using, and I think I put it right there. So that's my journey through the layouts.
Yeah, I had kind of the same, like a number of 4x8 just when I was a little kid. I was learning the hobby. Then what was it, a 12x12 when I was in my teen years, and then what was it, another 20 years, and then I had an N scale that was about 8x12, and then another 20 years before I started to do these. So you know, it comes in spits and spurts.
Yeah. Well, so a 12x12 was that a donut shaped?
Yeah, basically a C shaped. So I had
okay.
HO. I had a nice little yard, and the HO scale would run, and then I had like an HO scale branch line going up to a mountain or up to a mine.
You know, Dennis says music was his other biggest hobby up until about 3 years ago when he got back into trains. I would have to say, Dennis, it's way more than a hobby. You are a professional musician.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know it, but all those instruments on his opening, he's playing.
He played all those, most all of them. I think the guy that wrote and sang the song played one instrument somewhere in there, if I remember what he said.
Yeah. I mean, Dennis is very modest, but he's quite a musician.
Well, that's what that room was going to be, was a recording studio.
Yeah.
Until he found out he couldn't get anybody to come way the hell out there to record the thing.
Dennis is very talented, you know, with the music and art. You know, the paintings, the background that he's doing are just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Very talented.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's definitely an artist, and he's meticulous. Mm-hmm. I thought my good friend here in town was meticulous, but Dennis makes him look like a slob. I'm surprised Dennis is. able to progress with the layout as fast as he has. Because I know he's limited on how much time he's got to work on it because he's working out of town. And as meticulous as he is, that he actually gets as much done as he does.
Yeah.
That's surprising to me.
Which, by the way, Dennis, I'm very sorry you were sick today because I wanted to see what you did on your layout. I watched your update this morning before the show. And did you choose the final music, Dancing with the Devil, for Claude's benefit?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he was talking about me being the devil or the train being a devil to me. The switching puzzle.
He's proven his theory that if you build it, they will come.
Yes, that's true. I started mine out with no intention of ever sharing it with anybody other than maybe family, maybe a few friends. But then I started watching videos and I got over, and I have to credit Steve Brown with starting his show. And that's how I met a lot of people on here. I know that's how I met Steve.
That's how I got started.
And it's just gone crazy since then, I just got Bill's notification that his next video's up.
More pink foam board.
And that's our hour too, so we probably ought to get off of here.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for showing up, guys, and everybody in chat, and hope you all have a good week and keep on railroading.
Keep on keeping on. I'm gonna go play trains.
Yep. Dennis and Jerry, get better. Anybody else that might be feeling under the weather, hope you feel better. And we will see you next week.
Yep. Enjoy the holiday.